In this SlickPour dip powder series, Greg's going to show you how to use the product using the Resin system right now.
We've decided to create a series of videos related to SlickPour application. In this first video in the series, I'm going to be covering resin application. I'm going to be working with all the SlickPour resin components. Number 1 is our prep. Number 2 is our base. Number 3 is our activator. And number 4 is our top. So what I've done is I've created a perfect setup. This is a customer's natural nails. So what I'm going to be showing you is how to prep the nails and get it ready for application. Okay, so what we want to be able to do is we're going to go through and we're going to push all the cuticles back. Once we get all of the cuticles back, what we want to be able to do is prepare the surface of the natural nail for a SlickPour application. What I'm going to do is set my electric file at 3,000 RPMs, and I'm going to gently remove shine around the perimeter of the nail, all right, as well as through the body. All I have to do is gently tickle it away. I like to start around the cuticle area and move from corner to corner. This is the most effective and efficient way of doing it. You do not need to run the electric file faster than 3,000 RPMs on the YNE file. This is going to give you the perfect speed to get around the perimeter of the nail and through the body without generating any damage or any heat on the surface of the nail. All right, so what I want to be able to do next is I want to be able to dust away all of the oil and contaminants from the surface using swipe. One of the things you can do is you could use a manicure brush or a lint-free wipe to cleanse the surface. After the shine has been removed, we're going to be using number 1 to dehydrate the nail. What we're going to do is we're going to apply a nice even coat over the surface of the natural nail. What this is going to do is it's going to create a nice chalky surface on the natural nail. I'm going to be going through the process to make the application as easy as possible. The best part about the SlickPour dipping powders is we're not going to dip. We are going to be using a powder coating technique that is going to make life much easier and your application simple. I'm going to be working with Radar Warrior. It's a beautiful red. I want to keep the jar below the finger. Now, what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to take our base coat, and this is really important. When you're using your base, you have to make sure that you're not pulling off all of the resin from your brush. So what I like to do is I like to come straight out, and you can see the very, very tip of the brush. This is what you want to be able to apply onto the natural nail. The biggest mistake that a lot of beginners make is they remove too much resin from their brush, and then when they pour on the surface, it's not going to absorb the powder very well. So you have to make sure, depending on the length of the natural nail, to get the right amount so that you're going to have great powder absorption. What I'm going to do, I'm going to come out, and immediately I'm going to set this down onto the natural nail. You can see how much I have. If I have too much, I can wipe it back inside the bottle. But what I'm doing is I'm making sure that I'm able to work a very healthy amount from cuticle to free edge. I'm now going to take my spoon and I'm going to literally pour this over the whole entire surface of the nail, okay? What we want to be able to do is we want it to sit. I'm going to tap off the residue, just like this, all right? And we're going to leave it like that. We're going to move on to the second finger. We are going to repeat the same process on all 10 fingers. Okay, notice again, I have a nice healthy amount. I'm going to set this down, making sure that I'm working a very nice even amount from cuticle to free edge. Immediately going to go inside my jar, and then I'm just kind of tapping it down over the surface just like this. I need to go get more. I'm able to do that. Let it sit for a couple of seconds and then tap it off. All right. After you're done tapping it off, move on to the next finger. So again, get a nice healthy amount. I'm going to set this down. I'm going to work it from cuticle to free edge. And then what I'm going to be able to do is pick up a nice healthy amount and work it from side to side. Go ahead and tap this off. All right, so again, notice that I have a nice healthy amount. I'm going to be able to work it. I want it to be able to run down the stem and onto the brush, but you can see that I'm holding the finger over the powder. I'm going to pick this up, and then to get really nice even powder application, you can see how I'm actually tapping this. I pick this up, I just lightly tap it so that it pours onto the surface with precision and ease. Once I've done that, I'm going to tap this off, right, and move on to the next finger. What we want to be able to do once we are done doing all 10 fingers, I'm going to take a light duster brush, and I'm just going to lightly dust off the excess so that when we apply the base for our second coat, we don't have any residue that's getting on the brush. We're now going to go back for our second coat. So I want to be able to do the same exact thing. I'm going to take a nice healthy amount. I'm going to set this onto the nail. We're going to work it nice and even from cuticle to free edge. I'm going to take a nice healthy amount. We're just going to tap that over the surface just like this. Tap it off. Move on to the next finger. Alright, so what I'm going to do again, just coming down, getting a nice even application. It's so much easier to apply when you have the right amount on your brush. I'm going to tap this off. So again, you notice how at the angle of my brush, I set it down, and then I have nice controlled application. Try to get it as close to the edges as I possibly can with a nice healthy amount. I'm going to take, again, a nice spoonful. What we want to be able to do is pour over the surface just like this. Okay? Tap off the excess and move on to the next finger. The advantage of powder coating over dipping is noticeable. When you stick your finger inside the jar, what ends up happening is the resin sometimes pushes all the way back to the cuticle area. When you apply resin over the surface and pour from the top, you get a nice, smooth, even application. After you're done doing all 10 fingers with the second coat, you're now ready for number 3, which is the activator. So what I want to be able to do, again, is use my duster brush around the edges to just kind of remove any loose dust. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my number 3, which is the activator. And we're going to apply a nice even coat from cuticle to free edge. What this is going to do is it's going to set the product so that you're going to be able to finish it. Again, you're going to do that to all 10 fingers. Once you're done applying activator to all 10 fingers, what we're going to do is we're going to prepare it for number 4, which is the top application. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use swipe. I'm going to take a wipe, and I'm just going to kind of clean up around the skin and the surface, and then I'm just going to clean up my edges. That way when I actually buff and file around the surface and perimeter of the nail, I don't have to worry about all that loose residue. At this point, what you're going to be able to do is use your hand file to just kind of get any areas that are sticking out, right? I'm going to be able to tune up around the perimeter of the nail. So what I'm going to do to get a flawless surface application is I'm going to buff it in order for it to be absolutely smooth. I'm going to take the Young Nails sponge buffer, and I'm going to work this not just around the perimeter of the nail, but all the way through. We're going to do this to all 10 fingers. After we're done buffing the surface, I'm going to take Swipe again to clean the dust from the top. Okay, and we're now ready for top application. These next few steps are going to be extremely important for you to have a successful top coat application. The first thing we want to do so that our top coat dries well is we're going to take number 3, which is our activator, and we're going to apply a nice even coat over all 10 fingers. Just a nice even coat for the whole surface. Okay. As soon as you're done doing all 10 fingers, you are going to take a dry wipe. There is nothing on the surface of this wipe. And what we're going to do is we're just going to lightly dry buff the surface of the nail. Here is the trick when it comes to number 4. We're going to take another dry wipe. I'm going to keep this right next to the finger. We're going to take number 4, okay? Now here's the thing. The key to applying number 4 so that your brush does not get clogged is you have to work it with a nice healthy amount, but after the application, you have to clean it on your wipe before you go back inside the bottle. I'm going to take a nice healthy amount. I'm going to use the very, very tip of my brush. We're going to apply a nice smooth application rapidly through the surface, and I'm going to clean my brush on the wipe before I go back inside the bottle. So again, we're going to repeat the step. I'm going to take it out with a nice healthy amount. I'm going to come through the surface quickly with a light touch, and then notice how I quickly clean my brush on my wipe before I go back inside the bottle. You're going to repeat this step on all 10 nails. So what you're going to notice when the top coat dries, it almost has this orange peel kind of look. This is the sign that you're ready for your second coat. I'm now going to take my wipe, I'm going to turn it over on the other side, right, so that this side is dry, and we're going to repeat the process from 1 to 10. All right, so again, I'm going to come out with a nice healthy amount. I'm going to apply a nice even coat from cuticle to free edge, and then I'm going to wipe my brush before I go back inside my jar. Come out with a nice healthy amount from cuticle to free edge. I'm going to wipe my brush before I go back inside my jar. Repeat the same process on all 10 nails. After you're done doing the second coat, you have to let the surface set for at least 5 minutes. This will prevent your client from smudging the surface.
If you enjoyed our video, please give us a like and also subscribe to our channel. Free education, tons of videos that you can watch. You can head into our insane library and get educated on nails right now.